Assalamualaikum everyone and welcome back to PEPE Update today. Now I'm pretty sure a lot of you have been waiting for this update because the market has been a little bit red hot right now, and I think it is the perfect time to lay down my thoughts. But before we get into the details, just want to give a shout out to DXRP and SPX 6969, which are both going to be listed on exchanges. Good projects, please check it out. The link is in the description. And again, I'm going to tell you guys in the videos, take these seriously. You hate sponsors, I know that, but maybe one day in the future you're gonna wish that I bring in more sponsors, because my sponsors are pretty cool. Now the thing is, there is something I want to talk about, and this is critical. This is really critical. I'm not even sounding like, I don't want to sound like someone who is a hype man or anything, but when I say it is critical, I really mean critical. Okay, this is emergency, real emergency right now. Now why is it like this? So a few days ago, I'm not gonna replay what I said like yesterday, it's just gonna be a long video, but right now I've been making updates about PEPE every single day, so do make sure you're following me. But there is something I told you about PEPE and different exchanges. So different exchanges have different opinion. Right now, if you look at top left of your screen, this is a MEXC exchange. All right, whatever the data you have is MEXC at the moment. If I go back into the weekly, basically the MEXC exchange is older, right? It is older than Binance, because meme coins like PEPE and Bonk, they existed on MEXC way before they came in on Binance. So the information you see right here, and I want you to listen until the end, because this video is really important, especially if you're watching PEPE. So back in the old days, like this was MEXC down listing right over here, and early investors got into it and they ride the whole pump to the upside. And guys, when I was talking about these sponsors, I know, just give me a second. This is an ICO. This is almost as if you're buying low down here. It's an ICO project, but I'm not telling you to go and buy without researching. Just make sure you research, read about it, but I actually vouch it, and I think it is pretty good. I do have a little bit of investment, but that is what it is, because I was looking at PEPE on MEXC because it was on Binance, and I was trading this coin on my private way before it was on Binance. As soon as it got on Binance, I literally saw this really huge move right in front of my eyes, right? So if I show you a Binance chart, for example, this is the MEXC back in 2023. So PEPE is pretty old, right? We're reaching 2026, and now we're going to go back into the Binance chart. So if you look at the Binance chart, we do not have that one huge pump like we saw with PEPE. Do you see this pump missing right over here, right? This pump is missing. Just if I go back and show you the patterns again, this one huge pump right over here is basically missing. So even cool is that, imagine that if you were on MEXC, you could have bought at the very bottom right at 24.21, and that is the pretty amazing things about ICO. DXP is ICO right now. It is pretty much peanuts, right? Peanuts. If it does get listed on exchanges, they're actually gonna pump. They're gonna pump here, and we're talking about a project which Forbes is mentioning right now. Okay, enough with DXRP. I just cannot control myself to talk about it because it is quite good. It is quite good. But the thing is, the most critical thing, let's get back to the main point. Why am I extending the video so much? All right, different exchanges, different patterns. We're back into MEXC right now, and this, ladies and gentlemen, is a retest of the pattern that you broke out of. One symmetrical triangle here. So if I do extend another pattern just like that, okay, so PEPE is perfectly back testing. So here it is. You moved 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you broke down, and then you went up, and basically look what is happening. What is happening is you broke down below the symmetrical triangle, and this is a retest of the symmetrical triangle. The best stop loss is going to be 1433 based off this 4-hour symmetrical triangle. If you try to go above 1433 based on the MEXC chart right now, then this is going to actually be an invalidation, and you could even move all the way up to 2000 price target, or at least we're talking about 1674, which is actually going to be the highest part of this symmetrical triangle, right? So that is first thing. Okay, on the Binance, you're going to look and you're going to notice that there's a difference here. So if I go back to Binance, I've actually updated about this 5 wave, and we had a conversation about the first wave, second, third, fourth, and then this 5th wave actually happened, right? So Elliott wave 5 count is done, and now we can actually remove it. We don't need it anymore. The play is leveled. Now, however, your trend line, I noticed that instead of the trend line being like this is not a breakout, okay? This is not a breakup because your trend line just has a small tweaking like that, okay? This is now how your trend line really looks like, and it still qualifies to, you know, say that this is still your first wave, second, third, the fourth, and that's the 5th one, just right there. So basically, if you start to go down from here, you could lose, and you could actually go to 767, and that is the whole thing I've been talking about for the past 10 days. If it happens that you go for the 5th wave and you don't break, right? However, there is a chance, there's always a chance. This is resistance on the Binance chart. I've actually showed you the MACD chart, and that is also at the resistance. The difference is that on the MACD, it is at the lower resistance. On the Binance, it is at the higher resistance right here. So they're a little bit different. The patterns are a little bit different on different exchanges, and it's not just only with PEPE. A lot of coins are going to notice sometime you're going to see a head and shoulder on Binance exchange, but you're going to see a descending triangle on MACD exchange, or maybe BitGet, maybe KuCoin. The futures, even on the spot, you may actually see that the spot has a descending triangle, but the futures of the same coin may have a head and shoulders at the same time. So market makers really confuse a lot of people, and this is a small tiny detail that I just wanted to bring it out. Now the thing is that this symmetrical triangle, at the end of the day, if you break above, amazing, you're moving to 1633. If you get rejected, you're going to go down huge. Now you have an opportunity. And what is the opportunity? Is to actually take an entry, because you're sitting very, very close to that resistance right now. If, let's say, September dump happens, because the September has a history of dropping down big time. So there is a good chance that we could still see the same based on history, okay? And if you go and move lower, number one, to the lowest part of the trend line, this is 18%. To the lowest part of the symmetrical triangle, that is 36%. But your stop loss is going to be huge. That is nearly, we can say, 1352 at least. So we're talking about 12% risk, 13% risk, and 36% win. Is it really worth it to take 12% win? I would rather wait for, if let's say for example it actually goes and crashes down, we see PEPE moves to the downside. Well, I'm actually just gonna wait for that oversold and crash of September, and then actually get in, because as soon as you drop maybe 30-40%, it becomes easier to take a good entry because it becomes low risk. And I also plan to tell you guys for absolutely free a coin that you can enter if a crash happens in September. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. You got nothing to lose. But let's say it happens, I do have a backup plan, and I do have an idea to share with you, because I think next year we could be having huge bull run for altcoin. And if we don't have altcoin in 2026, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. End of story. So that's it for the video, and I'm going to see you in the next one. Love is.